Okay, so I had chapter 2, which was exploring what it means to know and do math. And so this whole chapter was about the what, why, and how of teaching math. So there was really like 3 sections. The first section was what does it mean to do mathematics? And this was all about generating strategies for solving problems, applying those approaches, seeing if they lead to solutions, and checking to see if the answers make sense. So it talked a lot about how math was a lot like science and all about the pattern and order. So science we think about as the process of figuring out or making sense. And math is the science of concepts and processes that have a pattern and logical order. And so it talked about how doing math takes time for the teachers to plan and for the students to get used to. And so if you want to know if students are doing math in the classroom, these are some verbs that you might see them doing: comparing, exploring, explaining, predicting, solving, justifying, verifying. And on page 15 in the book, it gave 4 different problems, which was an invitation to do math if you wanted to look at those 4 different problems. And so when students are doing math, you really need to think about in your classroom that the students are the ones who need to be doing the talking and the thinking. Okay, so part 2 in this chapter was all about what does it mean to learn math. And it talked a lot about different theories, and it said that when considering a classroom practice that maximizes opportunities, it is not necessary to choose just one theory. And so classroom discussion based on students' own ideas and solution to problems is fundamental to children's learning. And it also made me think about how that learning theory is not a teaching strategy. Theory informs our teaching. And so it listed 8 different things that can help students learn math. And the first one was build new knowledge from prior knowledge, provide opportunities to talk about math, build in opportunities for reflective thought, encourage multiple approaches, engage students in productive struggle, treat errors as opportunities for learning, scaffold new content, and honor diversity. And in this section, I was really thinking about our math block and how many opportunities we are providing our students to do this, and number talks really stood out in my mind. So part 3 was the understanding math, and we talk a lot about understanding versus knowledge. And this said that what is it they should be learning and connecting. So this was all about how the content connects. How do we connect those red dots? And it said understanding can be defined as a measure of the quality and quantity of connections that an idea has with existing ideas. And I love this, that understanding is not an all or nothing. It depends on the existence of appropriate ideas and on the creation of new connections, and that understanding can vary with each person and each student. And so it talked about 2 different understandings, which was relational understanding, knowing what to do and why, and ways that you can do this in the classroom are multiple representations, using tools and manipulatives, examples of tools, or even technology-based tools. Mathematical proficiency, and you needed 5 things to have mathematical proficiency: conceptual understanding, procedural fluency, strategic compliance, adaptive reasoning, and productive disposition. And so if the students have this proficiency, there's less for them to remember. It increases retention and recall, enhances problem solving, it has effective learning of new concepts and procedures, and their attitudes and beliefs are enhanced. So kind of just a recap of this chapter, because it was a lot. We looked at what is doing math, different learning theories, and how it's important to have opportunities to use their own knowledge and experiences, the different types of understanding, and about how to connect the dots between theory in the classroom and practices. And so I want to leave you with a challenge. So as you plan and design instruction, I want you to try to constantly reflect on how you're activating prior knowledge. I want you to design tasks that are reflective to their social and cultural backgrounds. And I want you to challenge them to think critically and creative. And I want you to include a comprehensive treatment of mathematics. And that's all.